So our next guest is Camille. She's super exciting. She studied ayahuasca in Peru. She's a practitioner. She studied energy. She studied healing, and she's a MSW. What's up?
LCSW, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, she's a social worker, and she helps people with trauma and other things, right?
Right.
That's what you were telling me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into it. Peru. Tell me more. You went there. You did ayahuasca a couple times.
Yeah, I went and I was doing a work exchange actually in Peru, and they were interested in having me come out to do a work exchange because I was a mental health therapist, but also because trauma was my specialty, and I have been trained in a lot of advanced and cutting edge trauma healing techniques, and so they're like, we want to see your perspective on ayahuasca and what's happening and what we're doing with trauma.
The Western world asked you to do this.
No, the people from Peru,
Oh,
like
okay.
the retreat center that I
Okay.
was working
Interesting. And then what happened?
at. So I went out there, and my work exchange was going to be so I could do like 2 weeks of ayahuasca straight. But each week I would drink once a week with the community.
And the people that don't know what ayahuasca is,
Mhm.
can you share that?
Yeah, so ayahuasca is plant medicine. It's basically it's a vine, and it's mixed with another plant called chacruna, and when the two combine, it creates what we know as ayahuasca or ayahuasca tea.
Okay.
And so there's like some DMT in it, so it gives this effect. But it's a long, a ceremony lasts like 4 to 8 hours.
4 to 8 hours. So a lot of people I've heard puke and like vomit and like they poop themselves. So it's not really a fun drug. It's more like to heal yourself.
Yeah, it's not one of those things that you really want to trip out on or
Yeah.
do. It's actually considered the grandmother medicine.
The grandmother medicine.
And so every plant has a consciousness and has an energy. So ayahuasca is considered a master teacher plant.
Hmm.
And with master teacher plants, they can teach us things about ourselves. And so I went out there and started learning more about ayahuasca and how it helped people heal from trauma and from mental health issues.
Nice. Okay, so you went there for 2 weeks, and
Hmm.
then what happened?
Well, no, I was there for several months,
Oh, nice.
but I was supposed to drink for 2 weeks. So
Okay.
I went out there. I drank probably 5 times, and on the third time, ayahuasca, it being a consciousness, was like, "You don't need me. Why are you here?"
Hmm.
And so I was like, "You're right. I don't necessarily need you because all the answers are already within inside myself."
Yeah.
And I always, I do meditation, I do my own inner work. And so the first 3 times I drank, I never actually purged. I didn't throw up. I didn't have diarrhea or any of that type of
Nothing.
stuff. Nothing. I was
Did you
just
have a
like,
trip though?
I turned into a plant.
Okay, so you did have a
I,
trip. Yeah.
I did turn into a plant and was like, I'm speaking in Spanish. I'm like, que soy una planta. um, and so I did trip out a little bit with that, but mostly all of my ceremonies were all about connection. The first ceremony was about how we were connected to animals. I was like, used to be really afraid of animals,
Really?
more just because they're like unpredictable,
Yeah,
like, and
they
I
are.
didn't know. And so that ceremony was all about how we're connected to animals, and I had some experiences with animals actually entering the ceremony physically. Um, Freaking me out and making me like, why is this happening right now? This is when I was supposed to have.
What kind of animals? Like
It was a
cats,
dog.
dog? Oh, okay,
This
cool.
one was a dog. It was the dog that everyone was afraid of because it would bite people.
Oh.
But it came in as a protector for me, which I didn't realize in the moment. But as I sat back, because when you do an ayahuasca ceremony, you're still going to be learning things about that ceremony each time you do it, like years later. So when I did that, yeah, it just like I learned more about being connected to animals.
So I know someone personally, a family friend, that they're from a really wealthy family, and the son was a hardcore alcoholic, and they went to like all this rehab. It didn't help. They spent like $50,000 in one of those Malibu rehabs. That
Okay.
didn't help either.
Mhm.
And he did an ayahuasca experience. I don't know if he went to Peru or not, but and after that, boom, it just went away. He stopped being an alcoholic. He just stopped drinking. Something in his brain just rewrote itself physically and uh, like not physically, I guess, consciously,
Yeah.
and he just stopped drinking completely. It was one trip.
Yeah.
Boom.
Sometimes that's all it takes, and ayahuasca can definitely help with that and give you insights into yourself. Um, it's not like the number one cure for addiction. I mean, there's actually another plant medicine that's based from Africa,
What's it called?
um, iboga.
Ebola? Not
Yeah,
Ebola. Ebola.
iboga.
Really?
Or and some facilities or treatment facilities are using a derivative of it called ibogaine.
Ibogaine.
Hmm.
Okay. They were using that for COVID too, I think. But anyways, uh,
Um,
so what does this do? The iboga, like it kind of like just helps you or like just stops addiction because there's a craving in your brain.
yeah.
I think a lot of people do drugs to escape reality
Hmm.
because maybe they just live in a bad lifestyle, or they have pain or trauma in their life and they want to substitute it with something. But there's also people that genetically their predisposition to be alcoholics or predisposition to be drug addicts because they want that stimulus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't personally taken it, so I can't really tell you from
Oh, okay.
firsthand experience. But what I hear is like you basically die and come back, or a part of you dies and you are reborn, and whatever that is, it has an extremely high efficacy rate for curing addictions. And I don't like to use the word cure, just from more of legalities and things like that.
It
But
helps you stop your addiction.
yeah. So everyone that I know who has actually taken it, they don't have an addiction problem anymore,
Really?
or their loved ones no longer have issues with addictions. And hopefully someday the states will start seeing that. I work at
Nah.
an addiction treatment center right now, um, and if they start to utilize some of these plant medicines, we wouldn't have the issue,
Nah, but there's money involved,
right?
right? So if you cure someone, big pharma. If you cure someone, you can't make money off them anymore. But if you have
Mhm.
them hooked for 30 years and you just reduce their symptoms, but they still have it, got them on the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could just make money off them, which is sad. Which brings me to cancer. We were talking earlier about how I met some people, and through the power of their mind, they're just able to cure cancer. Versus this guy, they should say they have him on chemo, they have him on drugs for the next 20 years.
Hmm.
They can make money off of him. But he was able to cure cancer in 6 weeks
Yeah.
with the power of his mind, which is crazy. That's just not crazy anymore because I've seen it firsthand, and it's like, okay, now it's just my reality. If he could do it, I have some like shoulder pain from work because I have like something called mouse shoulder now, where like I overexert my left hand
Yeah.
because I have the mouse, and like apparently it hurt my wing. But I've just been thinking about that area for the past week, and like it just went from like a 10 to a 2, the pain. I may even go work out today, swim. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. And some of the stuff that I do, I can actually just pull that pain right out of you,
we could do
just
that
like
right
that,
after.
just
Yeah.
like that. So you don't even
Okay.
have
Yeah.
to go
Pull it
through
out.
all the whole process of
Okay.
everything. But
That's actually awesome. And okay, so first of all, I totally believe in that stuff. And when you say you pull it out, you're using energy
yeah.
to
So
relieve energy.
I do have some gifts, like so I can find where pain is, or
Mm-hmm.
if you tell me where the pain is, I can just go right there. But I do these things that's called like magnet hands, and I just kind of
Let's
like
do it.
scan your body, and then I find it, and then I just will pull it. I'll see a visual sometimes of what it is. It could be like a hook. It could be
Let's do it.
a
What?
crowbar or something, like different things will come to my mind, the imagery, and then I'll connect with it, and then I'll just pull it out, and I use breath to actually pull it out. So
Let's do it. So for people that don't understand, actually, I was reading Joe Dispenza's, which I love that guy, dude. I talk about him all the time. I was reading his book again yesterday. You Are the Placebo Effect, and he was talking about how to oversimplify things or how to take complex things and make it simple. And have you heard of stories where like there's a flipping car on a mom and the little kid comes and flips that car over,
yeah,
and how it's physically it's not possible because it's a £4,000 car and whatever. It's just a little kid, but apparently all they're doing is they're using energy to influence matter, which makes perfect sense.
hmm,
That's it. You're just using your own energy to influence matter, and there's really no, oh, you have to be this way. You have to work out to do it. You have a clear intention with an elevated emotion. Your intention is to lift the car, and your emotion is you love your mother so much, and you just want to move that car out of the way to help your mom, and you're able to do it, which applies to this situation. Like I have a pain that is physical. There's probably a knot. There's inflammation, and you just use energy to influence matter.
yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of times it's
That's not even deep though.
yeah,
That's just basic common sense.
it's super it's surface, and but really what's creating it, and that's kind of what you have to start to identify is
Yeah.
why is it there in the first place? Pain is our greatest teacher. And it can be moved if it's given a place for it to go. And so I simply go in and, oh, you have pain right here? Let's move it. Let's see if it moves. And a lot of times, if it's actually 100% pure like emotion
Mhm.
or energetic, like it will be gone just like that. Um, Otherwise, if there's more stuff, like say you have like you were in a car accident and
I
there's
was
an
actually on
injury,
a
right?
car accident like a year ago. I got T-boned, and that's how it started. But it just went away, and I think like my monitors and stuff, it kind of came back.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, but you could also from that accident have that stored trauma in your muscle there or
yeah,
in your shoulder. And
definitely.
so, one of the techniques I do, it's called Bodytalk, and I can actually your body will tell me, and then it will also tell me where the trapped emotions are, where the stored traumas are, or what's creating the pain. And it actually has a 90% efficacy rate with pain management without medication.
90%.
90%.
9 out of 10 times this is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And then
So
again, they want to load people up with medicine.
yes.
I mean, look, I'm not against people taking medicine, but I think it should be like a last resort. Like you should try the 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 spiritual route, or I don't want to even call it spiritual, like energy, or first,
Yeah.
or what do they call it, like Eastern medicine. And if it doesn't work, you just go to Western medicine. You know.
Or maybe you can even call it self-awareness, right?
Ooh, self awareness. Yeah.
Just like, oh, I have this pain. It's not like, oh, I need to go take a Tylenol or I need to take ibuprofen for this pain.
Hmm.
It's like, well, why do I have this pain in the first
Well,
place?
yeah.
What's my body really trying to tell me?
Well, the first sign to just cure yourself of anything, even mental, is awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you realize you have the pain, and
Mhm.
then you just have to question things. But
Yeah.
we're kind of grown up. Even my parents, because they're from the Soviet Union, you don't question authority
Yeah.
or anything like that. If they tell you to do it, do it. And I'm like, now I'm the complete opposite. Now I just want to question everyone. Like, why? Like, you
Mhm.
want me to take this? Why? Like, if it's so good, why don't you take it? You know?
Right.
Yeah. Or yeah, I don't want to get into politics, but yeah. But yeah, definitely we could work on that. I mean, if you have a few minutes.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that is definitely trauma. But even me mentally telling myself, oh, I'm just gonna overcome this, doesn't hurt that much. And I was visually just picturing myself swimming again because I love swimming. I'm a swimmer, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna build it up because I don't want to stop the muscle growth and like just that physique. So I heard if you do mental practice, your body can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
If it thinks it's real, it's legitimately real. That's why like I've heard like I've actually seen it where like people put some other people in hypnosis and they're like your hands on fire and they'll get blisters when it's really not. So their body will react to it
Yeah.
because of their mind.
Mhm.
But you could do that the complete opposite way and help cure people, right?
True. Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Okay, so you're telling me some cool stuff you saw in Peru. What else? Like, have you seen other people take ayahuasca and just like completely cure themselves of certain things?
I've seen some people take ayahuasca and heal themselves of cancer as well.
I've heard of
Um,
that in Mexico.
so yeah, it's just it's a great tool. But like we talked a little bit, you don't have to take plant medicines or other things or psychedelics or things like that to get to that place
Yeah,
of healing.
yeah,
It's simply a tool. Sometimes it fast tracks things,
it definitely
but
does.
through meditation, breathing, all of that, inner work, right?
I'm raising my hand right now. For those of you that can't see, I mean, I've been really working on like I told you earlier, like I'm meditating 2 hours a day now and really working on myself because I really don't want to do plant medicine. So
Mhm.
because I want to get there and go back and go back and go back if I need to.
Yeah,
Versus like the ayahuasca, you can get there and but I don't know if you could get back without the plant medicine if you're not properly disciplined. It's a
right.
lot harder. I mean, and plus like me taking time out of my life to meditate 2 hours a day is no easy task. Like most people don't have time to like clean their house,
Mhm.
like let alone sit down and just concentrate for 2 hours.
Well, everything that you do becomes part of your energy field, and so you can definitely tell a difference of the people that are meditating versus not. Um, from an energetics perspective, there's lots of chaos all around us, right? And so somebody that's around, especially like computers and technologies, the EMFs, everything that's there, it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's this buzz, bzzz,
Mhm.
And then you got the stress on. If you add stress on top of that, and you add on things that are going on in their personal life,
Mhm.
and it's just like this chaos energy kind of that starts to be around them a little bit more, or this um, just stress. I don't know how to explain
Oh,
it any other than that,
they're out
but
of balance.
yeah. And then versus somebody that takes the time and does their inner work and meditates, asks themselves the questions, does what we call in Jungian psychology um, the
And
shadow work.
Jund, right? You just
Yeah,
said Jund?
yeah,
Carl Jund from Switzerland.
yeah,
Yeah, shadow work.
shadow work.
Nice. Well, so I think what you mean by shadow work is your subconscious,
It's looking at those parts of yourself that you don't really like everybody else to see.
the darker side of you.
And those parts that you pretend aren't really an issue, but when you're by yourself and in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
those things that start to come up or creep up could be belief systems, beliefs about yourself that you're not good enough, you're not important,
But
those type of things.
you, yeah, 100%. I realize the more I meditate, the less and less there's shadow.
hmm
There's more light now.
Right, and that's the goal of shadow work, is to like be able to acknowledge these parts of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
bring them to the light, because the shadow side is going to be the parts of us that sabotage us.
100%.
Yeah.
But subconsciously, they sabotage
Yeah,
you.
subconsciously, because you're not giving them any light or any time. And we all have parts to our personality. When I look at, I'm trained in ego state therapy, which is different types of therapy where we look at the person. Everybody has parts to their personality, but within ego state therapy, it's also a trauma thing where you kind of split.
Yeah.
And so there's these parts of us. There's the parts, hey, this is me as like the worker part. This is me as like the energy healer part. This is me as like, with my friends. I'm different with different people, right?
Yeah. One thing my coworkers point out to me is they're like, dude, you're the same at work as you are outside of work and with other people. I'm like, yeah, why would I want to change?
Mm-hmm.
And but that's actually working out for me very well.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because some people have to put on a persona when they're at work and they get off of work, they get high, they party and do all this crazy stuff. I mean, it's the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
And as you do that shadow work, you're kind of bringing everything back into that oneness of like just who you truly authentically are, no matter what or where you're at.
Okay.
So it gets you to that place. But as you do ego states, you're working with the different parts or aspects of yourself that you struggle with, or that sabotage you,
Yeah.
or that do different things, or this part's the angry part, this part's the mean part, this is the jerk, this this is the protector part, and
Mm-hmm.
working to help them release that, or just to acknowledge that actually sometimes is enough. And then sometimes you have these wounded children parts, or
Yeah.
and letting them come out and play a little bit more
Yeah.
is so healing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I had that happen at the Joe Dispenza retreat. I mean, I'll say that in there. I don't care. When my grandfather died, he's probably like someone very close to me that passed away. I haven't really experienced that, like have death in my family, because I'm blessed to have my parents. I have my grandmother, my sister. Like no one's really died near me. When my grandfather died, I didn't really know how to cope with that. This was like 4 years ago.
hmm
So I just got out, just started drinking, and just trying to forget it, and just like numbing the pain, as I would say, because I didn't have the proper tools at that time, and I didn't cry at all, because apparently men don't cry. And then when I was at the Dispenza retreat, apparently like you have to open up your energy center, or just like just be more in tune with yourself, and like I was just crying. I was just seeing my grandpa taking me to Santa Monica Beach when I was a kid. We would take a bus for 3 hours. That's how much he loved me.
Mm.
And I was just crying my eyes out, and I just let out on the floor. There's a puddle, but after that, I was just like totally cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's
Yes.
something I need to let out.
There's that emotional charge of everything, and how you know that you're over something is when you don't have that emotional response anymore, and
Yeah.
that you're healing from that.
One other question I had for you: I have a family member. I don't want to say, but they're like a vampire.
hmm
You know
Like
what
an
I'm saying?
energetic vampire.
Energetic vampire. They're energy suckers. Even his ex-wife, told me he's like, be careful of this guy. He'll suck the energy out of you. He's a vampire. Why are people like that, and how do you recommend people deal with that?
Well, there's a couple of different theories of like the why. I mean, sometimes I don't know if you've heard of something called human design.
Human design.
Yeah, it's a mixture of like
I've heard of intelligent design, but not human design.
human design is a mixture of like your astrological charts and the I Ching, and it's just basically this way of being able to profile you. And in part of those profiles, sometimes there is that person that actually needs another person's energy to do what they need to do or their mission in life, right? But that's not
I
necessarily
don't
what
think
we're
it's him.
talking about. But there is an
Yeah.
actual like profile of where they would need someone's energy, other people. So they need to be around other people, basically. But basically, energy vampires are more about just like they have issues with inside
Yeah.
themselves, and they,
Yeah. This is him.
yeah, and so as they are taking from you, basically to like what a vampire does, as far as
Sucking
just like
energy.
they're just gonna suck energy. Sometimes they do it, and maybe they don't even need the energy, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's just for nothing. You walk into a room and someone's just talking to you, and you're just like, man, I'm so drained. That's they're probably taking your energy. Um, a lot of times they're not even aware that they're doing it, and so they don't really know. But usually there's some type of imbalance inside themselves.
Yeah. Definitely big ass ego too. Besides the Vampire State
Yep.
Building. But like I love him, but I don't want to be near him. Um, it's just kind of tough because it's this weird place. Because I know it just sucks the life out of you, dude.
Mhm.
Like even thinking about it, like sometimes makes me aggravated. Sometimes when I'm meditating, that'll pop up. What I've noticed, apparently, but that's just like certain feelings your body releases because you're trying to go into a deep state.
Mhm.
Whether your brainwaves are changing, and then your body will be like, no, 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 let's go back to that fight or flight state because we're so used to that.
Yeah. Well, and if you have that awareness of this
I
person right here, then you can actually have countermeasures
I
for
do.
it, you know?
I just tell myself because it happens. I already know why it's happening now because I'm aware of it because it's that fight or flight state.
Hmm.
But my body's just trying to calm down my mind because it's not. I've noticed when you try to calm down or go into like a deeper state of meditation, it's not just a mind thing; it's a body and mind thing because it's connected,
Yeah.
right?
And you're feeling it, right?
I
Like,
am, but I just tell myself, "Nice try" to my
mhm.
subconscious, and then boom, just go
Yeah.
deeper.
And that's a really good way to protect yourself and to help if you have that awareness and you're able to do that. Other times, like in the energy world, we say zip up, and so it's almost like you zip up all your chakras from from the base
Zip
up.
up.
You just like zip it up like you're in like
Woo!
a suit, and you zip it up,
That's cool.
um, and then it like kind of just closes everything and blocks, or you can shield. You can do a lot of things, but when it comes down to it, the greatest shield is love, and
Yeah,
and so just being like, I have an awareness of you. I know this is what you're about.
yeah,
Um, I I love you, but I'm not going to share my energy with you,
yeah.
and that's okay. That's good. That's boundaries.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, love. A lot of people don't have love though. That's a problem. Or love in their life, they don't know how to love. So I would say just show gratitude,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Or thank you for making me more aware of this.
yeah. They're just your teachers, right?
Yeah. Um. So, how else do you recommend people can help themselves? Because you are all about like helping people cure, their illness, whether it's mental or physical. Would you say cold baths or cold showers? We're talking about that area. Yeah.
The cold baths, yeah, the ice baths.
Yeah.
Those are fun. I mean, there's so many things that you can do.
What
Um,
someone in the Western world, they're watching this, they don't have really money, they don't have the resources. What do you?
it's simple.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say,
go.
ask yourself.
Yeah,
Ask yourself,
that's
what is it that you need? What is it that you want? And then sit with yourself and be quiet. Like stop talking. One of the things that I do, actually, I like to talk to the like my higher self, or uh, different parts of me, right? And so I'll grab a pen and a pad of paper, and I'll ask a question.
yeah,
Just kind of like you just asked me, what what can we do to help
yeah,
myself or help someone else? So I'll write the question down, and then I'll just kind of get quiet, and I'll kind of get into like a meditative state, or just asking myself and doing some breathing, and then whatever comes to me, I'll just start writing. And so sometimes I'll have this dialogue, and if someone ever saw my journals, they're like, "What the heck?"
yeah. But that's but
But
that
it's like, yeah, higher self, and it's like Camille, and then higher self, and so I'm like having this dialogue and this conversation with myself, but getting different answers, and it's
yeah,
an easy way to kind of like channel that, because I'm like,
one hundred
it's just not
percent.
here. Yeah, it's
I agree.
simple.
I agree. No, I told you yesterday I met with like one of family friends that he looks up to me,
Yeah.
and I told him like I'm like, look, dude, like you need to look within. You need to ask yourself the hard questions. I was like, he's like, I don't know if I want to. I'm like, yeah, you're just afraid. You want to. You're just afraid of the answers you're gonna get. So some people have a hard time with that, but I applaud you for being able to do that. I really do.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, have you ever used a pendulum? Because you can ask yourself that question that way.
Yeah.
So people don't know. You just put a pendulum and then you just say yes or no. And I thought it was just like a higher beat, but it's really you're just subconscious.
So
You
what's a pendulum for those that don't know?
A pendulum is either it's copper or metal, and it has a pointing. It's kind of like a top with a string, metal string, and you hold it over your hand, and it's just dangling, and it's just still. And then you ask the question, should I date this girl? And it'll move right or left. But you have to ask you first, what's right, or what's yes, or what's no.
So you have to calibrate it
You have to
first, right?
calibrate it first. Yeah.
So you kind of understand what
Yeah.
it's trying to communicate to you. Yeah.
Do you believe in like psychics?
All of my I have a lot of friends that are psychics,
Yeah.
and so I do believe in them. But like I said before, I believe all the answers are within.
Yeah.
They're good to help me with what, like, if I'm stuck and I need some insight, I go to them more for fun.
Yeah.
And just to see, like, oh yeah, does it resonate or not? And then I just take what they say, and if it resonates, I hold to that, and if it doesn't, then I let it go. But the interesting thing when you do a psychic reading or a tarot card reading or anything like that, it's like it's reading the energy in that very moment.
Yeah.
There's other people that can, like psychics. There's different degrees of psychics too, right? There's like the
Or
channeler
yeah.
or someone that reads cards, and so it's like, what are they channeling, or who are they challenging or channeling, and so I'm kind of particular.
Yeah.
I
You
kind of
as
just
you
want to
should
make
be.
sure their energy resonates with my energy, and so I don't just go to whoever, but I just kind of you'll be drawn to the people that you're supposed to work with, or
Yeah.
whether that's an energy healer or a psychic, if that's what you're needing more of, like insights or to connect with loved ones.
Yeah. I've only gone. I mean, I have friends that are psychics. I don't personally go to one because I feel like I have control over my own life.
Hmm.
And I don't like external factor influencing it.
Yeah.
But I was dating a girl in D.C. I mean, kind of seeing her, talking to her, and I went on to visit her. She took me to a psychic, and it was completely off. Everything this person said, I was like, I didn't believe it in the first place.
Hmm.
At that time, but this lady was completely off. And she's like, "Oh, I hope everything worked out." And she even said, "Whatever you're here for, it's not gonna work out." And it didn't. But then I asked the pendulum, like, "Should I keep dating her?" And it said no. And I was like, "Damn, I knew it. I know." Like I knew it right off the bat. But like it's like those hard questions that you don't want to answer. It
Yeah.
hurts, but it'll make you a better person.
Hmm. Well, and sometimes we have to get out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Of ourselves. Like it's not, and sometimes we can't get out of our way, so we need extra help from someone outside of us, whether it's like a healer, a therapist,
Yeah.
a psychic,
Yeah.
or a doctor, right?
But these people sometimes just turn to drugs, which is a problem,
Hmm.
to stop that pain instead of facing it.
Yeah, they numb out, and
Yeah, they numb out.
they do different things, and I mean, it's a coping strategy, and that's their journey. If they want help, there's definitely lots of help and lots of cutting edge techniques with addiction besides plant medicine and that type of stuff. I was trained in, it's called accelerated resolution therapy.
What's that?
It's a trauma release technique. You can heal most traumas from in 1 to 5 sessions. Um, Super fast, but what they've been doing is doing research right now, and they say it right now as it stands with their study, it's 80%. It has an 80% efficacy rate with addictions. So what we would do is we would do an ART session on, like, the first time
What's
you
an
ever use
ART session?
accelerated resolution
Oh,
therapy.
okay, that's the abbreviation. Yeah, that makes sense.
um,
Duh.
and so no, so the first session would be something like your first time you ever used um, whatever substance, and then the next time you do a session, it might be um, your typical day in the life of using, and seeming like just doing those 2 sessions, the efficacy rate is super high. So we'll we'll do that, and then we'll see what's still there, and then kind of you do like the cognitive behavioral restructuring and talking about things and changing behaviors and things like that. But everyone that I've done that at our addiction center, um, because you have to stay a certain amount of time, because when you first come in, it's just like you're like in crisis mode. You're getting used to it. So 30 days isn't really going to help you. I don't want to go into a trauma thing within 30 days, but if you stay 60 days, I can actually start to do some trauma work, because with addictions, almost every single addiction, there's trauma to some degree.
Really?
Mhm.
Do you think people are predispositions to have addictions to drugs? Like it's in their genes?
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
definitely there's some of that going on. I think there's lots of things that
Yeah, there's a lot of factors in there.
yeah.
Do you think some people are just beyond being helped? Do you think that's possible as a healer?
I think I think people are beyond being helped when they don't want to be helped.
Yeah, that's any case.
Like,
I
yeah.
truly believe that. I have a degree in psychology.
Uh-huh.
I studied, I mean, in California for like 4 years at a university, and I think the one thing I've learned from that degree was you can't help people that don't want your help.
Mhm.
And I've tried that numerous times with people I care about, people I love. But I just have to always tell myself it's harder when it's someone close to you that you love. And I guess it's a little bit of naive, just being naive because you think you can help that person, but if they don't want your help, you can't help them.
Well, and you can't work. What I've learned in my career is you can't work harder than your clients. Um, you want something, you want to help them. You can give them all the tools you want, but if they don't actually implement those tools, that's on them. And so a lot of times as I've become a seasoned therapist, it's pulling back and just saying, okay, here it is. Let me see you, and then that will kind of show you where I'm going to be going next with the stuff that I can help you with.
Okay.
But if you're not willing, that's on you. You're here for you,
Yeah.
so you can either use this time to dedicate. I mean, especially if you go into like a residential treatment center, for drugs or whatever it is, or alcohol. Like, when in your life do you actually get to take a break for 30, 60, 90 days and devote it 100% to you, not having to deal with the outside world, and it's just you?
I don't think you can ever. I mean, but I think everyone should.
Yeah.
You'll definitely come out a better person. 100%. You will be changed. Are you like not allowed to have phones?
We have like a blackout period for 7 days where it's more like you don't have contact with like the outside.
Okay. Is that the
Um,
first 7 days?
yeah, the first 7 days that you're
Okay.
there. We encourage you not to. If you don't have to use the phone, then
Yeah.
like not, because it's distracting to know what's happening on the outside, and then you
It
get
is.
stressed out of, oh, that bill's not going to get paid, or this is going
Yeah.
to happen, or
Or
my
Putin
partner,
or
whatever's
Russia's
happening.
invading
Yeah.
Ukraine, which is like people like. Remember I told you that like really worked out about that.
Yeah.
Doesn't even bother me anymore. Yeah. Like don't worry about it. How does it affect in your life? Okay, gas prices went up $1. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, what else? Okay. As far as people with alcohol, um, abusing alcohol, how would you help that person? Let's just say hypothetically speaking, they drink a lot. They're not in denial anymore. They're like they don't have a problem, but they're as they call it. Let's just say functioning alcoholic.
Hmm.
How would you be able to help that?
Well, I think I'd like to sit and kind of pick their brain of their awareness levels, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing, well, what is it that makes you use or wants, like, why do you want to use? Is it, a lot of times we think everything's just on the surface. It's
Nah,
fun.
it's
I
not.
like it. I like it. It
Nah.
relaxes me. It does this or it does that, or it gives me courage, or it gives, it's like your liquid courage, or it helps me be more social, and it's like, well, why aren't you social in the first place? Like, is, like,
Did someone? Yeah.
let's work on this. Let's figure out what's the underlying causes or reasons,
Yeah.
or contributions
Mm-hmm.
to this. And a lot of times people don't even put it. Like, I was working with this man last week, and he told me that he was sexually abused as a child, and
Yeah.
he's like, I never thought about that. This is the first time I've ever told anybody. I just kind of put that to the
Mm-hmm.
backside. He's like, I don't think it has anything to do with my addiction. I'm like, okay, maybe it doesn't, but let's explore that. And so when we start to explore this, like, abuse as a child, like it actually has impacted him and created beliefs about himself. And it's impacted his, and these beliefs have carried on through adulthood, and they're the things that are contributing to his alcoholism.
Yeah. Big time. Just doesn't want to face it.
Yeah, or he didn't even remember some of it also, and it was just there. It's like this black spot,
Yeah.
and as he started to address it, or to gain his sobriety, some of the memories started to come back, and that's what's hard sometimes, is that you gain sobriety, memories come back, or you start to remember, or you start to feel. And when you've been numbing out for like 20 years,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
it's hard because all of a sudden you're getting really emotional, you're all over the place, and the brain needs to heal too. And so, what we do, we provide these supplements at our center. We're really big on the microbiome and
Yeah.
healing the gut, and healing as we heal the gut, we heal the brain. We have this amazing nutrition program. It's like an
That's
80
awesome.
20 vegetarian.
That's awesome. I don't eat meat
And
anymore, by the way, and I just started taking probiotics this week, and I'm less bloated and I feel lighter. Remember, I told you I woke up really happy today.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if it's the sun. I just feel less blood. I think I took a look at myself in the mirror and my stomach was flat, and I was like, oh yeah, I feel good. You
you're like,
know?
here it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you feel lighter.
Mm.
And there's something about my gut where I think someone said it's like the third brain.
Mm-hmm.
The second brain's your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, the first brain's in your head.
Sure.
But it's like there has to be that connection where it definitely helps you. It
Oh,
makes my
definitely.
mood light. I mean, I feel better because my mood's better, and guess what? I'm just gonna feel better. Just be more happy,
Yeah.
right?
If you have anxiety and depression, sometimes we think it's up here in our head. The actual answer solution to help heal it is actually in the gut and in that microbiome, and healing that, getting the micronutrients that you need because we are depleted. And
Yeah, I believe that because I do like intermediate fasting.
mm-hmm.
OMAD is what they
Yeah.
call it, only once a day,
Yeah.
and I think it's my metabolism, and I feel really good doing it.
Yeah.
But when I eat too late, or if I eat 2 times a day, or too big, like the next day or that day, I just feel very sluggish and bad. My mood goes down, versus me just being like hungry, because that's just how my body is. Some
Yeah.
people have to eat 5 times a day.
Yeah. And I think it's just tuning into your body and knowing, is this working for me or not? Because, a lot of times, like, I mean, for me personally, like, I have like a nightshade intolerance. And so everything
What's that?
that's like tomatoes, potatoes, bell peppers, any type
Oh,
of
okay,
pepper
okay,
or
okay,
hot
okay.
thing,
Yeah.
like it makes me have inflammation. Whereas
Okay.
when you go look at these diets, these are supposed to be anti-inflammatory,
That's what.
and they're supposed to help people. But so I'm opposite. But if I were to eat the diet that they have at my center, it would be more inflammatory to me just because of my sensitivities until I can actually balance out everything.
Nice.
So, but it's just listening to your body and knowing what's going to work and what does work for you
Cool.
and honoring that.
One last thing I was gonna ask you. I know you work with a lot of people, and psychosomatic things. I'm sure you've seen that. So for people that don't know what that is, it's psychological factors that cause physical problems or pain in your body.
Hmm.
Have you come across that, or
Oh yeah,
yeah,
all
I'm
the
sure.
time.
I'm sure
Like,
you
I
have.
mean, everybody.
Give me some examples.
I mean, I think the whole reason why I got trained in other modalities from being a therapist was because I was seeing so much psychosomatic symptoms within my specialty of trauma, and it was causing my patients not to be able to come to their appointments. And so I'm like, there has to be something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned Bodytalk, which is an international certification. It's whole health care for the whole body.
I need to look into this
Look
body
at
talk,
yeah, Bodytalk.
because your body has its own, I guess like its own mindset.
Yeah.
That's why people meditate, because you're like tame the beast, which is your body.
Hmm. So we look in, we're able, and it's really cool. And I think you'd probably really like this because it's like structural intuition. So there's for the left brain, how we have charts and
Mm-hmm.
how to get the information. We learn how to muscle test by like taking our wrists. It's a form of kinesiology, getting your yes and no responses, and then navigating the
Ooh.
whole entire body system. So we're looking at um, every system in your body. We're looking at all the organs, endocrines, body parts, and then the energy systems, and then we can look into the epigenetics of things. And it's this beautiful, beautiful
That's what
healing
Mallory.
modality.
That's what Mallory was talking about. She's like
Yeah.
they do like the spiritual and the science of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's called Body Talk.
Bodytalk. It's the founder John Veltine from Australia.
I'll look into
Um,
it.
so
Yeah.
check it out. There's a few Bodytalk practitioners here in Utah, but all over the United States, there's Bodytalk practitioners, and then all over
And you're a
the world.
practitioner of this.
Yeah, I'm a certified Bodytalk
Cool.
practitioner.
And if people want to hire you and you're totally open for sessions,
Hmm.
okay, cool. I'll put your information out there. Yeah. Yeah, if you want.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I've kind of stepped back a lot from doing a lot of the things. I'm kind of in this process. I'm doing retreats.
Nice.
So that's my
When-
next step right now.
When's your next retreat?
June 3rd, and it's a 3-day retreat in Escalante, Utah. We're gonna take you out, and it's run by two traumatologists. So my
Okay.
partner is also a traumatologist. So we specialize in trauma.
Okay.
You don't have to have trauma to go to it, but we're looking at addressing a lot of things. We connect back to the earth. So we use a lot of Native American
Oh,
traditions and beliefs. And so our
psilocybin
curriculum
mushrooms.
is kind of
Nah, it's kidding.
no, there is plant medicine, but it's not that type of plant medicine. Like not we're not using psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
We'll use kava. We'll use cacao.
Cacao.
Um,
Yeah, cacao's like chocolate though.
yeah,
I
but
love chocolate.
it's a heart opener, and
Oh
so
yeah.
we're going to teach about these different plant medicines and how we can use plants to help us heal and to actually open us up in different ways. So we'll use those, and then we'll do like different types of ceremonies, like a fire ceremony and things like that. But we're also going to be taking you out into to the hills and into the desert and
Dude, that sounds interesting.
taking you on these
Woo!
amazing processes to help you go inward and to heal.
You said June,
June 3rd, and it's called Akasha Holistic Healing and
like
Consulting.
the Tasha Records,
Yep.
which is by I read a podcast. My friend has a podcast. He did a whole episode on him. This guy was a farmer in Kansas who discovered the Tasha Records.
Okay.
What was his name? Eric something. I'll tell you later. You should
Okay.
listen to that episode. So
Okay.
apparently, this guy was a farmer, like a country guy from the Midwest
Uh huh.
in the 40s and 30s, and somehow he had these abilities to tap into source.
Mhm.
I don't know how he could do it. No one taught him how to do it, but everyone that came to him, he was able to help him somehow. And he told him, he's like, it's one consciousness. He's like, I'm not special for doing this. Everyone can do it. And he just discovered it.
Yeah.
You know how some people are just talented at sports?
Mhm.
Some people are just talented at spiritual things.
It's true.
Yeah. And this guy's definitely one of them. But he was like next level. Like even scientists from all over the country came to study him, and they were like, when he was going in, because he went under, like it just I don't know, subconsciously or just tapped into the source, and people were like poking him with needles to see if he's faking it. Nope, he wouldn't respond to that.
Wow.
Yeah, like the people that don't know what a Akashic Records is. It's apparently like it's like files or information of everything that has been, everything that is, and everything that will come,
Mhm.
and it's like out there in the ether or just in the universe,
Yeah.
and we have the ability to tap into that thing. And yes, and your retreat is called the Akashic.
AkashicHolistic.com. You can find out
Nice,
like our retreats and stuff. So
cool,
primarily retreats, but we'll do a pain release. We'll release pain from you first and get you cleared off of like a lot of the trauma. There's this healing modality that my mentor created as a traumatologist, and so we're able to release pain
cool,
through this. It's actually kind of like a meditation. It's like a guided process,
nice.
and we do that with everybody first to move as much as we can possibly out in one weekend, and then we'll do individual sessions, and we'll do
Nice.
energy work and do sound baths and different things like that too.
Ooh,
But then also connecting you back to the earth and to yourself and to humanity. So
right on. And that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen.
okay,
Thank you very much.
awesome.
Thanks for coming on
Thanks.
my podcast. I appreciate it. This is actually a really interesting conversation we had.
Yeah,
We're definitely
thank
gonna
you.
talk some more after.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, those of you that like this, go ahead and subscribe. And I'm gonna leave her information just in case you want to, hire her or you want to go on her retreat, which is very interesting. Thank you very much again.
Yep. Thank